All right, section 5.6 is more inequalities in two triangles. And what we will do today is explain the hinge theorem and how it can be used in triangles. Okay, so the hinge theorem says that if two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another triangle, and the included angle of the first is larger than the included angle of the second, then the third side of the first is longer than the third side of the second. So we see here, we have sides congruent, and we can see that 88 is bigger than 35. So we would say WX is greater than ST. That's what the hinge theorem says. If the angle is bigger, then the opposite side is bigger, as long as the sides next to the angle are congruent. And then there's the converse that says if two sides of one triangle are congruent to two sides of another, and the third side of the first is longer than the third side of the second, then the included angle of the first is larger than the included angle of the second. So in this picture, again, we have congruent sides in the two triangles. And now they show us 12 is bigger than 9. So since 12 is bigger than 9, angle C is greater than angle F. So again, two sides are congruent to two sides in a different triangle. The third side being bigger would indicate that the angle across from it is also bigger. And you can see in the pictures here. So if you look at example 1, it says, using the converse of the hinge theorem, given that AD is congruent to BC, so AD and BC are congruent, how does angle 1 compare to angle 2? So what they want to know is, what's bigger, angle 1, angle 2, are they the same? What do we know? So what we do know is that these two triangles share a side, so therefore that side is the same in both. So if you look across from angle 1, it's 34. And across from angle 2 is 33. So since 34 is bigger than 33, that means the measure of angle 1 is greater than the measure of angle 2. Because the sides surrounding the angles are congruent, and the opposite side from angle 1 is bigger than the opposite side of angle 2. So that's why we would say angle 1 must be greater than angle 2, because the opposite side is bigger. Example 2, car A leaves a mall, heads due north for 5 miles, and then turns due west for 3 miles. Car B leaves the same mall and heads due south for 5 miles, and then turns 80 degrees towards east for 3 miles. Which car is further from the mall? So we have, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Here's the mall. So car A goes north for 5 miles, north for 5, and then turns due west for 3. So 5 north, 3 west. Okay, this is car A. Car B heads due south for 5 miles, and then turns 80 degrees east. So 80 degrees to the east. And goes 3 miles. So what we have is 5 is equal to 5, 3 is equal to 3, and up here, that's going to be 90 degrees. So it says, which car is further from the mall? Is car A or is car B further from the mall? So basically, which distance is bigger? The distance from M to A or M to B? In this case, car A is further because 90 degrees is greater than 80 degrees. So since that angle 90 is bigger than the angle 80, we know that car A is further away. Okay, checkpoint. If the measure of angle ADB is greater than the measure of angle CDB, so ADB is greater than CDB, which is longer, AB or CB? AB is longer than CB because if the bigger angle is over on the left, the bigger side is on the left. So AB has to be bigger than CB because that angle, this angle right here, is bigger than the other angle. Okay, and then the last example. In example 2, car C leaves the mall and goes 5 miles due west and then turns 85 degrees toward south for 3 miles. Write the cars in order from closest to furthest from the mall. So here's the mall. Car A goes 5 north, 3 west. Car B goes 5 south and then turns 80 degrees and goes 3 to the east. So we have A, we have B, and now we got to find C. Car C, they're saying, goes 5 miles west and then turns 85 degrees towards the south. So write them in distance from closest to the mall to furthest to the mall. So the smallest angle is 80. So car B is closest. And then it's car C because 85 is bigger than 80. And then it's car A because 90 is bigger than, oops, let me actually write out the word, car A. So car B, car C, car A. Because B is the smallest angle, C is the next smallest, and A is the biggest. So that means the opposite sides would go in that order. Right, I know the notes were short and quick, but that's all we got for today. We'll cover a little more of this stuff in class.